Thank you. Now God made Daniel to find favor, compassion, and loving kindness with the chief of the eunuchs. And the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear lest my lord the king, who had appointed your food and your drink, should see your faces worse looking and more sad than the other youths of your age. Then he would endanger my head with the king. Then said Daniel to the shrewd, whom the chief of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hannah, and Mishael and Azar, prove your servants, I beseech you, for 10 days, and lest us be given a vegetable drink or water to drink. Then let our appearance and the appearance of your youths who eat of the king's rich dainties be observed and compared to you, and deal with us, your servant, according to what you see. So the man considered of them in the matter and proved them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, it was seen that they were looking better and had taken on more flesh than all the youths who ate the king's rich dainties. So the steward took away the rich dainties and the wine they were to drink and gave them vegetables. As for the 4 youths, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all kinds of visions and dreams. Now the end of the time which the king had set for bringing all the young men in, the chief of the eunuchs brought them before Nebuchadnezzar, and the king conversed with them, and among them all none was found like Daniel, Hannah, Mishael, and Azar. Therefore they were assigned to stand before the king, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding concerning which the king asked them, he found them 10 times better than all the learned magicians, enchanters who were in the whole realm. And Daniel continued there even to the first year of King Cyrus, at the close of the 70 years exile of Judah in Babylonia, which Jeremiah had foretold. God was showing me in this how God could be limited in so many ways. And there was even a time limit set on what they thought would take, 3 years? God was able to do in 10 days. I was asking God, on the vessel. One morning as I was sitting and caring, here lately for my husband, as I was sitting in the chair, God was showing me vessels, of, what we choose to be poured into us. And the verse in here that stood out to me was, and the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hands with part of the vessels of the house of God. And it was even went on to say that the vessels were stored in the treasure house of his God. So the enemy was seeking out something that was precious, valuable, that was blemish-free. In other words, he wanted the king's seed because he looked for the children of the king, of the princesses, and then he also ordered for the people of Israel both royal and noble. So God was showing me that when we think that the enemy doesn't know what he's doing, he knows. He even picks out certain vessels that are to be used of God mightily because, see, he hears, he sees also how they're being poured into. He knows the ones that are set apart, that even when people aren't looking, what they're pouring into themselves. And it blessed me because often we have no idea the value that we carry as vessels of God, especially when you're raised right, when you're set apart, when you're poured into. It had me reflect a lot on my pastors in Texas, and I shouldn't even be here right now. I shouldn't even be speaking right now. They took something that was so corrupt. God gave me an image, which I meant to do. I was going to bring a table and I was going to set it out. And God showed me different vessels. Now, you have the vessel that is a pottery pot. You have another vessel that was often talked about as glass. Glass is transparent. When it's perfect, you can see right through it. It shines, it's beautiful, especially if it's, say, crystal or just made out of the finest china, okay? But then God showed me a plastic cup. Only because it's a plastic cup doesn't mean it's not a vessel. It can be used. But see, in the plastic cup, God was showing me, I was like, plastic cup, Lord? He was like, yeah. A plastic cup can be used just as easy as the wine glass that's perfect. But see, the wine glass that's perfect takes more effort in remaining transparent, spotless, just beautiful on a shelf or in a church or on a pew. Because see, it takes work to keep your crystal without water spots, without, you have to clean them and buff them and use a special rag so you don't scratch them. Plastic cup, you can pour stuff in it, but it's not transparent. It can appear to be a beautiful plastic cup, clean on the outside, and the color when you first bought it, but when you pour into it and you look down at the bottom and it hasn't been cleaned right, which I get those a lot at home, you're drinking your drink and then all of a sudden you see at the bottom and you're like, either somebody left milk in it and it corroded at the bottom and it was set for so long like that even the dishwasher couldn't get it out. Another vessel that God was showing me is the chalice. You got your gold, you got your silver, you got your bronze. But what they appear to be on the outside is it truly as beautiful as it is on the outside, on the inside. There was a part in the story that God showed me. He took me to, let's see, Daniel 5. Excuse me, my notes are just all. Oof. He took me to Daniel 5, chapter 1, starting. And it says, but King Belshazzar made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords and drank wine in front of the 1,000. Belshazzar, whom he tasted the wine, commanded that the vessels of gold and of silver that Nebuchadnezzar, his father, had taken out of the temple in Jerusalem be brought, that the kings and his lords, his wives and concubines might drink from them. Then they brought in the golden vessels that had been brought out of the temple, the house of God in Jerusalem. The king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines drank from them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and silver and bronze and iron, wood and stone. Immediately, the finger of a human hand appeared in